I'm not deleting my game. Not really. I mean, I'm changing a lot. Let's talk about it. I'm scrapping a huge chunk of what we've made, like the name Father. Yeah, that's going away. And we're scrapping the game's entire plot, a ton of mechanics. Sure, we're keeping the core, the weapons, some of the enemies, but that's about it. The rest of it is changing. And at the end of this video, hopefully, you'll understand why. Maybe you'll say I'm a genius, or maybe you'll say I'm overthinking things. Let me know in the comments. I really want to know. Also, we're gonna vote on a new name. I'm kind of nervous. All right, here we go. So the original game was called Father, and the plot was basically a father looking for his estranged daughter in this cult campus called Edenfell. He finds out later that it's the archaic remains of the Garden of Eden. Your job is to scale this massive castle-like structure, which is the Tree of Life, to find your daughter at the top. Even now, I think this is a pretty cool plot, but the problem is, it's not enough. There's just not much to do with this. Of course, you probably disagree. I understand, I get it. But every time me and my team have brainstormed with this idea in a meeting on Discord, we've just found it incredibly difficult to come up with ideas. Oh, dude, I got a great idea.
Sure.
What if we put our, the player's gun, okay?
Okay.
Go with me. Now, we came up with some fruit-themed spiders, maybe some fly trap enemies, fruity power-ups, but the problem is the game is a horror game, and these things just look clever. They were never really scary, but clever isn't enough in a horror game. I've kind of made a rule. If a game's theme, setting, and story don't inspire a ton of ideas from your team during brainstorming meetings, it's likely the idea is not fruitful, no pun intended. If a theme, a plot, a setting are effective, they will immediately sprout more ideas. Your problem should not be coming up with new ideas. Your problem should be weeding them out. Again, no pun intended. Another way of putting it is, feature creep should be your problem, not feature vacancy. And a good theme will get you there. So secretly, I spent evenings after I put my kids to bed simply just thinking through new themes. And I decided on the following: Squid Game meets BioShock.
Hey, sweetheart.
Hey, Lucky.
Did you make it to the hotel?
Yeah, I made it here just fine.
How was it?
I can't wait to see you here. I'll be waiting for you in the honeymoon suite.
You wake up, locked in this stormy hotel. Your bride is missing. A series of deadly games ensue as you climb the happy hotel. At the top, you find your bride, or maybe you don't, along with a massive cash prize. Now, what is this place? Why are we here? Who are we? Who is this Mr. Tinker that talks to us through a loudspeaker?
I want to see you pissing in your pants and pooping all down your leg.
What are these monsters dressed in childish costumes? Questions are boundless, and a ton of questions are the ticket to a great game. Or perhaps they're the golden ticket. There's another idea. Play with the Willy Wonka themes. Let me write that down.
Onward!
See what I mean here? A bountiful idea leads to a bounty of questions. Questions are the chocolate to your candy bar, per se. What I mean is, without questions, a game, especially a horror game, will struggle to find answers. And looking for answers feels so good in just about every creepy game. Half-Life, Hollow Knight, Silent Hill, Resident Evil, Breath of the Wild. That's not creepy, but it still works. Looking for answers is perhaps the core to a great game. And you can't find that tasty core without the apple itself, and that is a bunch of questions. Your life is a bunch of questions. And that's what makes it interesting. Now, this new theme led to major questions about the game's mechanics. Does the current set of mechanics serve this new theme, which is a crazy haunted hotel game show? Actually, kinda. What we had was a first-person shooter where you shoot boring enemies and collect boring keys to unlock boring doors. And that can actually work for an indie game, but not so fast. If we're gonna scale a massive tower, we need a character controller that's ridiculously fun to control. Simply traversing from floor to floor in this backrooms inspired tower. And by the way, if you haven't looked into the concept of backrooms, you're definitely missing out. This should require the player movement to be insanely fun. So me and my team spent 2 weeks speeding up player movement, adding a sprint mechanic, a double jump, a crouch, a slide, a midair dash, a grapple hook. And the goal here was to have additional movement options that are earned as you progress the tower. Now, we also rebuilt the enemies from the ground up. Instead of simply relying on spiders to be annoying and zombies to be annoying and drones to be annoying, we started categorizing our enemies based on difficulty. Now we have an annoying, farmable enemy type, the zombie, but we also have a terrifying and dangerously fast enemy, spiders. We have enemies that can hit you from afar, that's shotgun-wielding clowns, of course, and also an ultra-dangerous enemy that's slow but sneaky, and that's basically Teletubbies with dynamite strapped to their chest. There's also the infamous Enderman. In this case, his name, or her name, is Charlotte. Inspired by Hush Hush, Sweet Charlotte. This is a movie that inspired me since I watched it with my mom when I was 7. And by the way, the reason I watched this movie with her at such a young age is because, according to her recent text to me, because I wanted to. Thanks, Mom. You've inspired my next horror game. Charlotte crawls around the hotel with the help of Mixamo animations, and if she spots you, you're screwed. I'd argue that Charlotte is the linchpin of this entire new concept. With her, you're pretty much bound to sneaking around the hotel. You can't just run around, until she sees you, of course. Then you can sprint, dash, double jump as fast as you can to a golden church bell. Then, and only then, will she stop chasing you. See how quickly ideas have just sprung up from this simple theme of a haunted hotel game show. Now guys, your theme can make or break your game's mechanics, and I didn't realize this. I thought mechanics came first, but in my case, a great theme for your game can help the mechanics. Okay, so now we have this super interesting, super marketable theme. We have some cool weapons, cool enemies, and cool mechanics, but where's that hook? Like, what's the thing that makes this game viral? What's that one line? What is this game about? I recently had a conversation with Jay Armstrong, creator of the Cult of the Lamb, which is arguably Devolver's greatest launch ever. And Jay was blunt with me, and this bluntness was perhaps one of the greatest kindnesses ever given to me from a game developer. And he said, look, your game needs a mechanical hook, something that makes it stand out, just a twist on standard gameplay. And right now, you don't have that. I'll be honest, I was a little bit discouraged, but he was right. Let's discuss why my game and your game needs a hook. Your game needs a mechanical hook, aka a gameplay mechanical hook, so that, well, the player can get hooked by your game idea, like a fish. They bite the bait, buy the game, and yeah, you've made 15 bucks. Now the beauty of a refund is that developers can't lie about their bait, perhaps like a fisherman can. You can't put a rubber worm on the hook. It's gotta be a nice, juicy worm. So what's my worm? Well, here's the idea. The hotel changes every Friday at midnight. Even better, at the top of the hotel is a prize. Sometimes it's just status, like being able to rename the hotel to your username. Sometimes it's your avatar's face plastered across the hotel's paintings. Sometimes it's, wait for it, you're gonna love this, NFTs. You're not gonna like that, but I like it. Or sometimes it's actual money, right? The rewards will be weekly and they'll be ever changing, but this much is certain, every week the hotel changes. Ultimately, the challenge is, can you get to the top of the tower this week the fastest? And just remember, the tower has changed. All right, so what do you think about this idea? Let me know in the comments. Regardless of what I decide, if there's anything I want you to take away from this last point, I want you to understand the value of a good mechanical hook. Yeah, your story should have a hook, right? Your art style, it should have a hook. Your characters should have a hook. For example, the protagonist in this new game concept might be female, right? With beautiful red nails gripping old rusty steampunk guns. That's kind of a cool character hook, but it's not a mechanical hook. But the most crucial question is gameplay, right? What's the gameplay hook? What is the mechanical hook? Ultimately, guys, this much is true. My games and yours will be ever changing as you create them. I'm perhaps guilty of changing too much about my game, but change in a game's creation is necessary. Are you humble enough to admit that you don't really know what your game is yet as you create it? Are you willing to stand tall in the storm of confusion and wait for that lightning to strike, right? The inspiration. I'm willing to wait, and I ask my team daily to wait patiently with me. And I am really appreciative of you guys because you seem to be waiting patiently with me as well. Thank you so much for your support. So here are the game name ideas. And please, please, please do not vote for Father. That name doesn't really work anymore. But here are the names. And by the way, I can't promise I'm going to choose the ones that you vote for or that I'll choose any of them, but let's just go ahead and get the ball rolling. We've got Happy Castle, Infinite Tower, and Tower of Tickles. Now let me know below in the comments what you love and upvote other comments that are voting.